if you only had to write 300 letters to make a career of 20 years of flipping 30 houses a year, would you do that? Well, we're going to talk about that today with our awesome guest, Kelli Garrett, here on the Deal Finders podcast. Let's go. All right, guys, we are here back with the Deal Finders podcast, and I have an incredible guest. I'm so excited to talk to Kelli Garrett from Rehab Wallet, one of my original mentors and coaches from, gosh, that seems like a long time ago, but she helped Michelle and I get started with making money in this business, not just making a retirement plan. So, Kelli, thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us, and I just can't wait to talk to you today and have some fun.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad you asked. Obviously I live in Charleston. You are in Columbia.
Yeah.
I've been watching you for so long now, and just kind of proud mama 2 hours away, watching you guys just completely explode and do it the right way.
Yes, I appreciate it. So let's do a quick intro for everybody on the podcast. That who is Kelli Garrett? How did you get started in real estate? And we'll get to what you're doing now in a little while.
Well, again, it's like you said, I'm Kelli Garrett, live in Charleston, South Carolina. Came here a long time ago to play basketball. I didn't want to give my age away too fast. But played basketball at the College of Charleston. So I'm originally from Easley, South Carolina, upper part of the state. And so got me to Charleston. And, spent a little time in corporate America, about 12 years. And made that switch in my entrepreneur world about 2000. So I've been in this now a little over 2 decades. And, we just hustle like everybody else. Hard work comes very natural to me. I kind of grew up on a small farm. So the hard work piece of flipping kind of came supernatural. And I was doing it kind of the hard way at the beginning. But, what I kind of how I got started was literally I just needed everybody to know what I was doing, right? So I, back in the day, I remember there wasn't any emails or anything like that. It was still old time, letters back 2000. And so I wrote everybody, honest to God, that I knew, that I could think of, wrote them on a piece of paper, and I wrote their names down, and I wrote them a letter. And I said, this is what I know. Everybody knows me of 2 things. One was a basketball player. I was an All-American basketball player. And I had a talent, but I need you to erase your thinking of me as a basketball player. I needed you to erase your thinking that I was still at UPS, because I was at UPS for 12 years. And now I'm doing this. And I started explaining to them what I was doing. Everybody, people I could think about, my churches, my aunts, my uncles, I wanted them to understand what I was doing, and I need their help. And I highlighted that word, like, I need your help, to get started in my new business. And I needed, if anybody knew anybody, because you can't just say real estate investor, because everybody thinks you're a realtor. So, I had to explain what I was doing. So that's kind of how I got in. And I started getting, feedback from these people and saying, yeah, well, my Aunt Susie, she just passed and we don't know what to do with this house. And so one of our first deals was kind of like that. And I think it was just letting everybody know what I'm doing. These days it's a lot easier. But I wanted everybody to know what I was doing, and so that I needed help to get started.
That is phenomenal, Kelli. That's in today's digital age. That's like, wait, you got a pen and pencil or paper and wrote it down. That is incredible. So, do you have any idea how many letters you sent? Do you have any idea?
I know it was hundreds.
Oh my God,
hundreds.
Oh,
Just like you wrote it.
Imagine.
But at the time, I didn't know any better. I again, if that's all I have to do is sit there and write, that's what I did. I pride myself on tons of energy. At this point in my career, back then I had lots of energy, and I just wrote them all a letter and reminded them what I was doing and then every time I saw them, I was that annoying person, like, this is what I'm doing. Please help me get there. And I don't think I was afraid to ask.
I love it. So, Kelli, like I said at the beginning, you helped Michelle and I get to a place where we could make a business out of this. And now we are helping other people kind of get started in the business. And it's called the Deal Finders Club. And what I found after talking with you and our kind of network and other people from that we've coached a little bit on the way is like those first couple of deals come from exactly what you're talking about. Your network, like your mom, your cousin, your people from church, your people from, your old job or your college.
Yeah.
When you tell them and go tell them and you put a key part in there, you said, I need your help. They don't know to help you. They don't know to call you or text you unless you say, I need your help. Let me know, call me when you find something, some kind of real estate, whatever that is. And you did it with handwritten letters. We tell people to go do it on Facebook, but I think letters right now would probably be a game changer, because if you handwrite a letter to a homeowner, they respond. I bet the same probably still applies. So I love that. This is going to be a fun podcast. When I put it out, I will make sure to highlight to everyone to follow this example, because you can do that today and guarantee you will stand out in the crowd and you will be known as somebody looking for a discount deal or whatever that is. So thank you so much for sharing that. I love to give some kind of actionable steps for the audience here. And guys, if you are just starting out or if you've been in this business for a while, go write some letters to your friends, to your network, and just tell them what you're doing. Yep. You can even say, hi, how are you? Reconnect. But I love that. So you started that 20 years ago, 23 years ago. Mm-hmm. And were you getting houses at the time? What was kind of the focus?
In 2000, I just started a mortgage business alongside this flipping. My mortgage business, and it's a long story how I got in the mortgage world, but when I opened that mortgage business, that gave me the education to fund this real estate, right? And so I wanted to, so I think it was in tandem. It helped each other. I again knew how to fund it, and I'm not afraid to pull the trigger and the fire. So I started buying like single families along the way. And so I initially started buying, just like everybody else does, the single family doors and as quick as possible. And again, you got to remember, back then there was nobody out there because I could go to YouTube and understand it. I was just winging it, right?
Yeah.
I just my dad had bought had duplexes that had a little trailer park. He was an entrepreneur in his own right. And so I was kind of just duplicating what he was doing. And so I went from single family to duplexes, just like everybody else does, to the quad, and then ended up buying some smaller multifamilies just as I progressed. So, I would do just like everybody does now. I do the burst strategy. I ended up refinancing a ton of them and keeping a ton of single families for a long time, like 15, 16 years. And in 2018 is when we kind of like pivoted from the self-management side of things, and we were self-managing everything, and pivot over in more of the passive side, and we can get into that later.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say? So you started out, your marketing was the letters. You were networking, trying to get people to help you. Did you go and start marketing, like traditionally paid marketing, like postcards and stuff like that?
No, honestly, I have never, ever. Some people cannot believe that, and we were flipping, 30 homes a year or something like that, and trying to keep as many as possible. But I never have sent a letter. It was literally wholesalers, bought from wholesalers, and from this reputation of what I did, and just friends and family constantly of could they tell somebody else, and somebody else, because when we let our family know and they trust us, right, and they know somebody else in the churches or in the community or colleges or whatever, wherever you're at, is that they know other people that have passed, or they just don't know what to do with a house. So we were there, we're their first calls. But primarily, I have to say that it was wholesalers. It was wholesalers at MLS. As we're getting into this new market that we're seeing now in 2023, MLS is becoming a tool again, finally. And so it was our tool. We had, friends and family, word of mouth, wholesalers, and MLS was our way of finding deals.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is so encouraging for people to hear from somebody so successful that you don't have to go make this big marketing juggernaut of a business. You don't have to be on every billboard. to get deals. Most investors are like you. I mean, when I say most, like you don't know that they're flipping 30 houses a year because they do it quietly. They don't have postcards. They don't have billboards.
Mhm.
They're utilizing their network and wholesalers. So our company, we send out a lot of mail and we're on TV and all that. Well, we'll then sell to another investor, right? Well, those investors don't have to pay for the marketing, So that's so encouraging to hear that you stuck it out like that, and we're able to make a business now going on over 2 decades.
We did it. We flipped for 18 years and kept our properties as self-managed for 18 strong years, and we just made a commitment at that time. Said, you know what, it's a tough job flipping. It was, and we just kind of got burnt out a little bit, and we said, but it was a hard decision. It was a very hard decision to pivot that. You're out of control a little bit. With flipping, you're in control. You're able to budget. You're able to, do your numbers and know what you're doing. And then when we pivoted more of a passive, and now we invest in apartment syndications and other businesses through syndicators, we don't have the control that we had back then. But it was just time for me to pivot. We had done our time.
Yeah, and well, let's kind of follow that along. So, because I know you had such a fun entrepreneur journey of a career here, I know that you had a cotton candy business, which I was just in love with because I just think it's fun. So you got to tell us about that, and then we'll talk about where you are now.
Yeah, along the way of me flipping, you got to remember I prefaced it by saying I had a ton of energy when I'm in my 30s, right? And so I had a lot going on at the same time. I just like multiple streams of income. I don't know that I knew that term back then. I just knew that I like a lot of balls in the air, and kind of still do, but a little differently now. So I started buying a few businesses and flipping them. As I learned that I went from single family in the real estate world, I went from single family to 2 doors to 4 doors to larger apartments, right? I thought, okay, well, I can do that with businesses as well. I can buy small business, and then I can ratchet up and go get a bigger business and a bigger business. And so that's what I started doing. Of course, I had a great team that helped me go in and manage these. And then I would stay in them 4 or 5 years with a management team there, not trying to limit the time that I was in them, but of course it draws you in a lot. But and then we would, run revenue from X to X and then sell it. Put it on, broker it, just like you would on MLS, and sell it. And so that was the cotton candy business. Everybody remembers that about it because it was a manufacturing cotton candy and candied apples, and we would wholesale to large grocery store chains. Like Food Line would pick up 12 tractor trailer loads at a time. So it wasn't like a baby reveal, which we did sell some of that for that or birthday parties. It was mostly into large grocery stores, wholesale.
Yeah, the big stuff. It's just so much fun. But that's kind of the progression of I feel like a lot of real estate investors, when they are as active as you were and we are, and some of the people we network with, is that you start to see how flipping houses and building those businesses relates to just a normal business. And you can buy and flip a business almost, once you do it a few times, it's probably easier, right? Because you have a team and management. But so it's fun to see how that translates. So as people are getting started, those that are listening to this podcast, and you're like, I don't know how I'll ever get there. It's just one foot in front of the other. You don't start with multi, apartments. Usually you don't go straight to apartments and then cotton candy business, right? You go.
Great statement is that so many people get so keyed up on that, like I'm not doing enough or whatever. But everybody, if they will admit it, a lot of times, again, social media has its pros and its cons, and that's a con. That a lot of those people just jumped right in and started buying this big apartment complex, and it's not true. We all started at a certain spot, and if it's single family, it's single family. And a lot of people ask me, like, should I just jump over single family and jump right into multifamily? I say this. I always say that if that hinders you from getting in the game, then buy a single family. Buy a single family, get in the game. Get the feeling, get the endorphins running through you, but don't stay in that single family too long, in my opinion. If you're going to be a landlord, jump over to some multifamily, but get in the game, however you can get in the game.
Right. Exactly. The exact same discussion I just had with somebody yesterday. It's like you got to get in the game somewhere, and yeah, you got hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. You can skip over buying one single family, but most of us, we got to start somewhere. We got to start somewhere where we can afford to learn along the way and maybe make some mistakes that aren't going to kill us. You got to stay in this game longer. The people that are successful in real estate, they're in long term.
Okay.
So I love that. So let's talk about where you are today, because it's a big part of, obviously a big part of who you are, but a big part of our business and our local Deal Finders Club, the meetups and everything. So tell us what you're doing today and what that looks like.
Well, like I said, we pivoted to more of a passive approach. So when we sold off all of our, single families and small multifamilies, and we piled up a little pile of money, I made decision to private lend with some, and to go a large sum go in on some apartment syndicators, period. So I had met them, studied them, went deep with them so that I could understand who they were before I start turning over my money to these guys. And so then what happened was that yourself, I was private lending to you underneath my own umbrella, my own business, and the phone was ringing a lot harder and more times than I had money in my little inbox. So I said, I called those operators that I was passively investing with, that were great capital raisers, that were great marketers. And I said, you know what, if we could open up a debt fund, another fund outside of your multifamily fund, if we open up another debt fund and you guys can raise money in the fund, I can lend it out. I have the experience. Remember I told you I had the mortgage experience. So
yep.
I had the mortgage experience. I knew I could build a team. I had done it a lot of times. And so that was our partnership, is that I would build a team out. They would raise the money in the fund. So we use that money and pay our investors. And then we use that money to go. So we're using our own money to go lend out. And today it's called Rehab Wallet. And Deal Finders Club, your team, your group, gosh, we appreciate them so much. We sponsor you. We are proud of you and happy to be linked up with you. And so we've been super successful there in Columbia and super successful here in Charleston, because we have a meetup that actually is tonight at 6 o'clock, 6 to 8. And, over 100 people show up to that thing, and we sponsor that and we host that thing and try to give value there too. So, Rehab Wallet was opened up through the lens of a flipper. I mean, I flipped for so long. I know what it feels like. I know everybody hates to be at the computer dealing with documents, right? And so I thought, well, let's just have an asset-based lender. I don't want to pull your credit. I don't want to deal with verifying any income. I just want I can look at a deal and analyze it and say, you know what, if something happened to, well, fortunately you have a team now, but if something happened to Andrew, would I hold that back in my portfolio when I was flipping? That's the way we look at it. And so we lend at 70% LTV, sometimes a little bit higher, but I think we're in a good spot for the change in the market or what have you. But Rehab Wallet last year we did almost $100 million in funding in loans, and since inception of almost $160 million. So we've been very blessed. We've worked hard. My partners are wonderful capital raisers, and I think we're pretty good at what we do too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're very good at what you do. And like you said, you made it out of the lens of a flipper, which as an investor and a flipper, like, I know how important that is. And we get responses from people all the time. We're like, oh yeah, we love working at Rehab Wallet because they just make it easy. They get me. They understand what I'm doing, They know I'm out in the field and I can text pictures easier than I can go, do all this running around with paperwork and stuff. So
exactly. You guys it was like. I remember what it was like. I mean, I used hard money as a flipper. I used different lenders as a flipper. So I knew what that was like. I knew that I had some of them, would make you wait on an inspector to come through and I would be waiting. I need to pay my guys, and I'm waiting for an investor to come in to give me my draw. And I just I was trying to do everything that I didn't like when we were flipping.
Yeah,
and
it's worked well. And you said that I saw the graphic the other day, almost 100 million last year, incredible. And you said you met those capital raisers. Did you meet them locally? Like, because I met them at your meetup. So I was just, is that how you met them? As something like
one of them? They're Dan Hanford and Danny Randazzo. Danny Randazzo had a meetup at 7:30 in the morning, downtown Charleston. I went to it. I just had heard. I didn't know him from Adam, and went to him, and we connected. And I kept, it's like what you were talking about earlier. It's doing the same thing over and over and over. Come into your group, come into your networking event, over and over and over again. I've been doing that so long that I don't even know how to. I still go to the same things over and over and over again. Because remember, my referral source is not postcards. It's literally networking. So I lean on that, and I lean into it. And I met him at a morning breakfast that he put on for about a year. And we started, but before I really locked arms with them, I really, and he was probably doing it too, but I wanted to get to know him and his wife. I wanted me and my wife to go to dinner, to hang out with them, to get involved with them, we went on a vacation together. I wanted to get to know them before I went on this massive journey with somebody, right? I'm probably 20 years older than those guys. I'm in a different part of my career than them. I wanted to make sure we align morally, and we did. So that's how I met him, literally at a network. You're one. I say this, and I'm going to talk about this tonight at our networking thing. But you're one relationship away from your life changing. I mean, you're one relationship away. Y'all are helped so many people, and you are that relationship to somebody, and now Rochelle is that relationship to somebody. Yesterday, just last night, was talking about Rochelle. That's seriously. And so it is. It's so amazing what happens. But you got to go to them. You got to get up. You got to at 6:00 when you're tired, and your kids are screaming, and your kids are hungry, and you still got to go to Andrew Michelle's event. You go to it, right? Yeah. You just go to it because you're one relationship away from something changing your life.
Exactly. You hit it. I mean, you hit it right there. I don't even have to close this podcast because you did it right there. It's that relationship. It's get out, go meet the people that are in the place you want to be, right? Go meet the people that are one step ahead, 2 steps, 3 steps ahead, and continue to do that because there's always going to be someone new. You ended up meeting a capital partner that's created a new business that's done over 160 million in loans in like 2 years, right? So that's clearly you weren't necessarily going looking for that relationship, but that's what happens when you get out and you talk to people and you get in the network and you get into these rooms of people in this business. So you hit it right there. I love it. Like we could just turn off the mics right now and go, we're done. We're done. So I'll give you a chance. So obviously I talk a lot about the new folks getting started and you gave some great action steps today. You gave incredible advice on meet that one relationship. Is there anything else you want to leave them, the folks that are just getting started? Like today is the podcast that's going to get them out there. What's that? What would you say to them?
I would have to just say to stay persistent. I don't know anything else. It doesn't take, I'm not the smartest tool in the shed. I told y'all I played basketball, so that's probably what got me into the school. I took the SAT like 5 times to get in. But I'm serious when I tell you this. It doesn't just use good common sense and stay the course. Do it over and over again. If you're putting contracts in on deals, you might have to put 30 in to get one, but put them in over and over and over again until you get some traction. And I think that if you just use that one thing of just staying consistent or persistent, just do it, just consistently and show up at everything that you possibly can do. And don't just learn. A lot of people just say, well, I'm still learning. Jump in. Even if it's, I need to add this too. Even if it's like locking arms with somebody, like If somebody has a deal, if you can find a deal, but you don't know how to get started, lock arms with Andrew or anybody that Andrew might tell you to lock arms with in his group, or anybody that knows what they're doing, because you're going to learn a lot. You're going to make less mistakes, and you're going to get in the game. You're going to get in the game. And once you're in the game, you're learning. And it just seems to take some momentum after that. But just stay at it. I mean, I can't tell you anything else except write those letters. If it's 300 letters, go on social media. I mean, I'm sure I can't really remember it, but I knew there was just stacks and stacks of letters. I don't remember being a pain, but I'm sure it was. But just write them and send them out. You might get one deal out of it that could literally, again, a relationship and a deal both could change your life.
Yeah, 100%. I love it, y'all. That is some gold right there. I hope y'all that are listening to this or watching this on YouTube that you're taking some notes and writing this down for your action steps today. And you know, she just said, Kelli just said, you know, quit learning. Y'all, there's so much education. There's so much information on YouTube, on this podcast, every other podcast out there. You can literally learn everything about real estate just by listening and watching. Yep. But you have to go out and do to get any revenue. And I'm going to coin that, trademark that. You got to do to get revenue.
Oh, man, where you go? That's a good thing.
There we go.
You know that little thing? It's like ready, fire, aim. I'm no ready, aim, fire, whatever. Just fire. Fire that thing.
Fire. Just go. Get to that revenue.
Exactly.
And if you are looking for a place, for people to hold you accountable to yourself, to actually get out there and push you to make some moves and to go out and do, that's where Deal Finders Club comes in play. So go to dealfindersclub.com and you can see exactly what we're talking about, what we do, our live events. And if you want to get join the club, you can apply there as well. So this has been an incredible podcast. Thank you so much, Kelli, for being here. We do have this live on, or not live, but on YouTube as well as the podcast station. So y'all listen to this. Please make sure you do rate and review because this is the only way that this podcast will get to someone else. And if you know someone else that might benefit from this, go ahead and share it with them. Send them the link. They will thank you. And we thank y'all for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the REI Deal Finders podcast. You can find out more and apply to be a part of the REI Deal Finder community at reidealfinders.club.